We're going to get started. Welcome everyone to our Canvas webinar. It's so good to see you all. My name is Mara Vlasic. I am an instructional tech coach at Linwood High School and Mount Lake Terrace High School. This is my first year in this position. Before that, I was a Spanish teacher at Mount Lake Terrace High School. So I came in and learned Canvas right away. It was what I used with all of my students. So a lot of the things I'm going to talk about today are things that were helpful for me as a teacher using Canvas. And I think in this new situation we're in, hopefully they will be helpful for you as well. I put a link in the chat of our Zoom call to a Google form if you would like clock hours for this meeting. Feel free to fill out that Google form. There's just a few, I'll add it to the chat again. There's just a few questions on it and it will let you get some clock hours for any of these webinars that we attend. And then I will pass along via email based on the responses on that form. I'll pass along information on registering for the course in the PD portal. We're working on getting that set up. Also, we have Krista Polson here. She's also an instructional tech coach. She's our Canvas guru. And she's going to monitor the chat for any questions. So if you have questions throughout, feel free to add them to the chat. She'll do her best to answer those in the chat. And then at the end, we can follow up with any unanswered questions afterwards. So let me just get set up here. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. If your video's on and you can see my screen, no problem. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm just going to go through a couple things. So our agenda today is to show you how to log on to Canvas, give you an overview of Canvas. I'll talk about importing things from the Commons. The Commons is like the Canvas library of resources. We've made some resources that should help you easily set up a Canvas course if you're brand new to Canvas. We'll talk about publishing, which makes things viewable for students. And then there's some share options, some really cool features that Canvas has to make copying content or sharing content with other colleagues or to other courses really easy. And then we'll talk about assignments. I think assignments are a big thing that teachers are looking for. So I will do that. And then we'll have some question and answer at the end. My plan is to talk for about 30 minutes, answering questions from the chat also, and then at the end we'll open it up for just some open discussion. We have a pretty small group, which is really great. So we should have some time for you to ask specific questions and I can walk you through some stuff that you'd like to look at specifically. Our norms, if you could mute your audio during the presentation, that would be great. Again, use the chat to ask some questions. And then if we have any connection issues, I will ask you to turn your video off just so that we can make the most use of our Wi-Fi in this situation. Okay, so we are going to go to Canvas. Let me exit my presentation here. The easiest way to get to Canvas, let's see, I've got some questions. Krista, could you paste the form in the chat again? That would be great. Okay. We're going to go to Canvas. So the easiest way to get to Canvas is through your Chrome browser. We have an Edmonds bookmarks tab. So this is in your bookmark bar. It should be there and easy to access. If you don't see your bookmark bar, on the very right-hand side of your screen, there's these 3 dots in Chrome. You can click that and then click bookmarks. And you just want to make sure that your bookmark bar is being shown. So you click that show bookmark bar. That will let you see this Edmonds bookmarks. We've made this folder of bookmarks that are all really useful tools that you probably access daily, like your Drive, Skyward, etc. And if you click Edmonds bookmark bar, you can click on Canvas. This takes you to the Canvas login site, and I'll just show you what that looks like for you. It would look like this. You want to make sure you're on the Edmonds School District one. So if you look at the URL, it's edmonds15.instructure.com. Each school has their own Canvas login page, so it's important that you're using our Edmonds School District one. Your username on Canvas is the very first part of your email before the @edmonds.wednet.edu. And your password is the same password as your Gmail account, the same password as logging into your device, etc. So I put in my username and my password. I'm going to log in. When you log in, this takes you to the dashboard. Canvas is, I like to think of Canvas as like a file cabinet, and each drawer might be a course that I'm teaching. I know that in my classroom, I had a file cabinet labeled Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3, 4. Each drawer had all the resources. Canvas can function similarly, where in your dashboard, you have each of your courses. Each course contains all of your students already enrolled. It also will contain all of the resources that you want to share with your students or have for your students or have for that course. So on my dashboard, what you're looking at right now are all of the courses that I am enrolled in as a student or that I am a teacher of. For your courses, you would see all of the courses that you are the teacher in that Skyward class. So you should have 5 courses if you're teaching full time, and they would be right here. Your students are already enrolled in those courses, which is really nice. You don't have to do anything for that, but we have to publish our course so that students can see it. So if we haven't published our course, students wouldn't be able to see anything in it. So I'm going to show you what your courses probably look like if you haven't used Canvas before. So I'm going to click on this course. And this is just an example course, but any brand new course is going to be empty. So if you have not done anything on Canvas, your course will look like this. It's a blank course. You can click on people, and if you clicked on people on your course, it would have all of your students already there. So even though the course is blank, Skyward automatically enrolls your students in this course for you. So if I look at the home if I click home on my blank course, there's nothing in here right now. I have a couple options to create a new module or add existing content. But before we do that, I just want to go over a couple things with you. Where it says home, that's the top of my navigation bar. We call this the navigation bar in Canvas. Every course has the same links, starts with the same links on your navigation bar. And then you decide what students want to see, what you want students to see, and what different resources you want to have in this bar. All of your courses will start with the same navigation bar. Home is your home page of your course. We're going to show you how to add a home page to your course today. Announcements, you can make announcements for your classes. Those show up under announcements. And then you have lots of different resources that you can add to your course. You can add assignments, a discussion, you can add a file, you can add a page, which is just like an information page. We also have quizzes, so you can add a quiz. So there's lots of different resources that we're going to add to our course. So this is what your course looks like. Instead of creating things from scratch, we've created a lot of resources for you in the Canvas Commons. The Commons is like Canvas's library of resources. You have access to all of the resources in Canvas. You also have access to just specific resources from Edmond School District. So I'm going to show you how to access the Commons. So if I go over to this very far left toolbar, I'm going to click on Commons. And this opens the Canvas Commons. So I can search for anything inside the Commons, but it's a huge library of resources. So all of our resources that we have created for this not short term anymore, for this continuous learning time, which is now 10 weeks. We've created a lot of resources for you. We have labeled them to start with ESD 2020, so Edmond School District 2020, to make it easier for you to find those resources inside the Commons. So if you searched for ESD 2020, we have a lot of resources. We have an entire course template. So this first one is an entire course that you can import into one of your Canvas courses. We have just a homepage template. We have things for Newsela, which is an online articles database that a lot of teachers are using. So any of these resources can be directly imported into a course. Thank you, Krista, for creating all of these things as well. So I'm going to show you how to import this entire course template. So we've created a course template that you can start with. I click on the title of it. It will give me a preview of this template. So I can go down here and see all of the things that are included. There's 5 modules. A module is like a file folder where you can put different resources inside of it. So if you have that file cabinet and within that you have a file folder for unit 1, I can think of a module as like a unit. And within that unit, I can put information pages, I can put quizzes, assignments, etc. So within this template course, we have 5 different modules. We have 6 assignments that are just templates of assignments, a lot of pages, some discussions, quizzes, and some files. So we've created this template course to be set up for you to make it easier for you to use Canvas during this time. So I'm going to import the entire course template. So here's I'm inside the template right now. I'm going to click on the right side, import/download. And that's going to give me access to all of my Canvas courses. Because I'm a tech coach, I have access to hundreds of courses. You would just have the courses that you are the teacher of. So I'm going to import this into my blank course just as an example. So I check the course name and then I click import into course. It might take a few minutes because it's such a huge file. It's the entire course that I'm importing in. But once that's done, I can go back over here to my toolbar, or my toolbar on the left side, and I'm going to click dashboard, which again, dashboard is like an overview of all of your current courses that you are a teacher of, like that are current right now for second semester. And I imported it into the blank course, but because it takes a few minutes, I'm going to show you what this looks like in a course that I did earlier today. So when I open this course, it already has a homepage. So we've created a homepage template for you. So if you decide to import that entire course into your Canvas course, you'll start with a homepage here. And then I can click on modules. And modules, again, is like a list of all my units or how I'm going to organize my course. And we've included a lot of different modules for you. So the very first module, it says, do not publish, for the instructor, do not publish. These are information or resources for you in getting started with Canvas. So if you wanted to keep that in your course, we just wouldn't publish it so students don't see it. Anything that you don't publish is not visible to students. So if I wanted to publish this second module, which says welcome to your virtual classroom, if I wanted students to be able to see that, I can click this publish button here. So a green check means that it's published, it's visible to students. There's 3 levels of publishing that are important when you first start a course. If I go back to home, which is the front face of my course, so when students log in, this is what they see first. When I go to home, if I notice on the right-hand side over here, I have course status, unpublished or publish. If your course is not published, it doesn't show up to your students in their dashboard. So they might, if you add content to your Canvas course and students say, I don't see your course anywhere, it means that we haven't clicked this publish button right here. So when I click publish on the right-hand side, my course is now visible to students who are enrolled in it. So step 1 is to publish your whole course to make sure that that course is accessible to your students. If I go back to modules, which are like my units or how I'm organizing the information in my course, right now, the module title is this darker gray bar right here, for the instructor, do not publish. That's like the title of the module. If that's not published, it's not visible to students, including all the resources that are inside of it. So all of these resources are not published, so they're not visible. However, I have a welcome to your virtual classroom module, and that is published and visible to students. So what students would see is this right here. And I can show you what this looks like from the student view. Let me go to this course. So here's from the student view. They would see my home page. They can only see home, announcements, and modules in the navigation. That's all that they can access. So I can click modules, and all they see is this module, welcome to your virtual classroom. So publishing is important in Canvas so that students are able to access the content that you're putting in there. Okay, so what is in all of these modules? So we've added a lot of modules for you. In here, we have some helpful resources for you, so you can leave these in your course. If you don't want them to be at the top of your modules page, you can always drag content inside your module using these dots. There's 8 dots right here. I can click and I can drag this whole module. Maybe I want to put it down at the very bottom of my page because this is just a resource for me. So now this module lives at the bottom of my page. Another important thing about modules is that you have this little caret next to the title of each module, and that lets you collapse that module. So if you're trying to navigate this page, or if students want to navigate a page and it's just a lot of information on one page, we can also collapse the module to make it easier to navigate. That doesn't disappear, that doesn't take away the resources inside the module, it just hides them to make it easier to see. So we've created a couple different module templates for you. What we're thinking is that during this time, the important things for your students to access is the home page of your course, which has information on how to contact you, how to navigate your course, what the plan is during these 10 weeks. And then modules, how are you going to organize what you would like your students to be able to do during this time? So if we go back, let's start with our home page. We imported this whole course from the Commons, and this course comes with a home page. So this is our home page right now. Krista has put a lot of information in here to help you edit this page. So she's put information in brackets, that is information you need to edit and update with your own information related to your course. So if I'm on home, right now I'm just viewing the home page, but I have to click this edit button to be able to actually edit the content that's in there. So when you're in any page or quiz or assignment, any kind of resource in Canvas, we always have to click edit to be able to add information to that page or edit the information there. Let me know also if you have any questions as we go, or if I'm going too fast or too slow. It looks like, yep, you can also ask them in the chat. Krista's monitoring that. Again, she's our Canvas guru. She taught me all I know. Okay, so we are in our homepage. We're editing our homepage. One kind of strange thing about Canvas is when you go to edit it, when you go to edit anything, it gives you this really small box to view. I like to click these dots that make a triangle right below the word count, and I can stretch this a little bit more to make it easier to edit. It gives you a bigger editing view. When we edit anything on Canvas, we always have this same toolbar. So this toolbar that's right here, it's always the same tools on a page, a quiz, a discussion, anything that we're editing content. And this toolbar is really similar to like a Google Docs or a Microsoft Word. It's not super, there's not a ton of options, but it includes everything that I've needed as a teacher teaching in Canvas. So we can bold, italics, change the text color, etc. So here I'm in the edit page. So now I can replace replace information with my own information. So I could call this Spanish 2 with Senorita Classic. Oh, my Spanish accents are not great in this. And then I can edit the content for a message to my students. So if I had a specific message I wanted to communicate to my students, I would take out this text and I can add information there. Krista's added some things in here that might be useful for you, like communication. How will you communicate with students? Are you adding announcements? Are you just updating the home page? Course contact, so how are they contacting you? Would you like them to email you, etc.? So you can edit all of this information in here for your course specifically. I can also delete things from this too. If I wanted to delete a section, I can just delete that content. Another important thing about Canvas, when you're adding content or editing content, it's really, really important that you scroll down to the bottom and click that blue save button. Canvas does not auto-save like Google Docs or Google Slides. We always have to click save. So if you're doing a lot of content editing, I would save periodically just in case. I have many times walked away from my Canvas page and realized I didn't save before leaving. It's very upsetting, so remember to save. So this is our home page. This is what students see when they first log into Canvas, into our course. We're gonna go back to modules. And there's a few different modules that we have created as examples for you. If I was teaching right now, I would probably have a module for each week of distance learning. I think that's just my style. Every teacher is a little bit different. We have created a weekly module. So this would be an example of a weekly module. So I could rename this. I can edit this and call it April, what was the first week? April 13th to the 17th. And then update that module. So that changes the name of the module. We've included some resources within this. So if you see anything with this document icon, that means it's just a page. It's an information page. There's no assignment or anything. You can think of it as just a Google Doc of information. So we've included a weekly overview and to-do list. So I'm going to open this page to see what's on it. I can click on the title. And this has an overview, so a space to introduce your major topics, contents, or themes for the week. It also has a place to give a to-do list. So if I had different tasks for them to complete each day, I could put an explanation of those tasks here. Again, I'm just looking at this overview. I have to click the edit button to be able to edit anything on that page. One thing that is super useful, that was super useful for me as a teacher using Canvas, is that you can hyperlink different pages within Canvas. So if Monday I wanted them to complete this exercise on the subjunctive tense, I can open up an assignment. So if I had a studyspanish.com. So if I had a grammar lesson that I wanted them to complete, I can copy the URL. I can go back to Canvas. Oops, I'm in this one. So I've written complete this exercise on the subjunctive tense. I can highlight that sentence. And then we have the hyperlink option in Canvas. So this little chain icon lets me hyperlink. So I can click that chain icon and I can paste that website here. What that means is when students open this overview, they can click directly on that link to go to the assignment, to go to the practice. So a page in Canvas is just information. There's no assignment, there's no submission. It's just to share information with students. So let's go back to our module and look at that module. So we have a weekly overview, and then these are all pages. So if you had information that you wanted students to look at on Monday before they complete an assignment, you could insert a page there. If I don't have anything like that, I can always delete things from my module. So if I go to these three dots on the right-hand side and I don't want this here, I can remove it from my module. And that would remove that page. I'm going to show you assignments. We have an assignment example in this module. And I know it's an assignment because it has this icon with the pencil on it. That's the assignment icon for Canvas. So if I click on this assignment, again, I'm just looking at the assignment right now, so I have to edit it in order to make changes. So for these templates for assignments, we've given you an overview, a place for guidelines, technical support, etc. When you create an assignment, this whole text box right here, when you create a brand new assignment, it'll just be empty here. So this would be a place to put directions for your assignment. If I scroll down, this is where I have a lot of options in Canvas for creating an assignment. So I can choose the point value. Right now, we are encouraging teachers not to give grades for students on assignments. One thing in Canvas that you can do is you can leave it as 0 points, and then students can still submit that assignment and you can give them some feedback. So I'm going to show you how to do that. But it's still good to create assignments for students so that they have a place to upload their work to, and it keeps you really organized in being able to see who has turned in what and give students feedback on that. So I can assign points. Assignment groups are like categories. So if you have categories set up in Skyward, we can set up those same categories in Canvas. For now, I'm just going to call it an assignment, part of the assignments group. I'm going to display this as points, but it's worth 0 points. And then this is the part where students are able to submit things online. So submission type lets you choose how will students submit this assignment. So if there's no submission, that means there's no option for students to submit online. But you will probably be using online submission. So if I change the submission type to online, I have a lot of different options that I can choose. If I want students to be able to just write a written response directly to the assignment, I can do a text entry. So they would get that same text box where they're just adding their answer. A website URL would let them just paste a URL. So if they made a Wii video and you want them to submit that Wii video, they can just submit the URL to the Wii video. Media recording is an audio or a video recording. If you want them to submit an audio or video recording, you can check that box. And then a file upload would be submitting a picture, a PDF, a Google Doc, any sort of file. And I can check as many of these as I want, or I can limit how they submit that assignment. If you're having students use G Suite, like Google Docs, Google Slides, that would probably be, that's what I used a lot. I had them do their own Google Doc, and then I would click file uploads for them to submit, and they can submit their Google Doc. And I'll show you what that looks like from the student side too. Actually, let's do a couple of these. Group assignments you can ignore for now. This is an option in Canvas to assign group work, and then one student submits it for the group. Peer review is also an option in Canvas. That's kind of a more advanced feature where you can assign students to review each other's work. And then sync to SIS is syncing to Skyward. And we are not encouraging teachers to do this right now because we're not sure what grading will look like for fourth quarter. So for now, we can uncheck that box. But if we do decide that it's okay for teachers to sync to Skyward, you can always go back and edit that. So the nice thing about Canvas too is that all of these are editable after the fact too. And then this is where you're assigning it to your classes. If you teach, for example, when I was teaching Spanish 2, I had 3 periods of Spanish 2. All 3 periods of Spanish 2 are in my one Spanish 2 course. So within one course, all of your sections or periods are inside that course. So Canvas will default to assign this to everyone in my course, all 3 periods. But if I wanted to assign to specific classes, I can click the X there, and then I can choose, you would have under course sections, the different periods of that course available. So you could assign it to a certain period. You can also assign it to certain students. So if you wanted to modify an assignment for 5 different students, you could click those students' names and just assign it to them. It will also give you an option. If you click the plus add button, I can assign in your courses, it will let you assign to everyone else. So if you choose one group of students to modify an assignment for, you can then assign it separately to everyone else. So these are your assignment options. I'd say this is the most complicated part of Canvas just because you have so many choices here, but this is how you decide what that assignment is going to look like for students. Again, we have to scroll all the way down and save. We can save and not publish yet if we want to go back and modify, or we can save and publish that assignment. And because I didn't assign it to all students, it gives me this notification, but I'm just going to continue. So here's my assignment. It doesn't have much because I didn't include very many directions, but I can see that students are submitting a text entry box, a website URL, or a file upload.
Hey, Mara.
Yeah, go ahead.
Patty asked a question if you could scroll back up. Probably on the editing page is what I'm figuring.
So if I am still editing, I can always, I can always go back up and add more to the directions. So you can see the entire assignment. My screen's really big, so yours might not be zoomed in as much, but I can see the entire assignment here. A few other things, actually we'll come back to that. So let's scroll down and click save. And then I'm gonna go back to modules and see where that assignment is. I published it. Here we go. So here's the module I'm in. This is my April 13th to 17th. I wanna make sure this is visible to students. So I'm gonna publish the module. And then I'm gonna publish, let's see, I wanna publish the overview. And then I don't wanna publish the rest of this stuff because I haven't added anything to it. So I'm going to unpublish everything else in this module. Oh, this module is really long. I'm going to do this backwards, actually. Oh, no. Okay. I'm not going to take the time to unpublish everything. You can delete things from the module. You can also delete an entire module. So if I only want this welcome module and then my April 13th to 17th module, I can scroll down and delete the other ones. We put in 2 different module templates for you because teachers are running their courses differently during this time. Some teachers are doing a module for each week. Some teachers are doing a module that, like this one is, let's see. This one is similar to just each week. So here's another template. And then we have one down here that's more specific for a unit. So if you're not organizing your learning by weeks, but by units, this is an example of a module by unit. But I don't want that one, so I'm going to delete it. So I can click those 3 dots here. I'm going to delete this module. And then I'm also going to delete, oh, Krista, I probably should have used this one as less stuff in it, but that's okay. I'm going to delete that one too. So now in my course, I have 3 modules. I have Welcome to my Virtual Classroom, April 13th through 17th, and then I have my instructor module. If I wanted to copy a module, I can duplicate a module. So if I create one that I really like the format and I just want to use that same format but just edit the information, I can click those 3 dots next to the title. Wait. Krista, why am I not seeing that option here?
Your guess is as good as mine on that one.
The
one above has it,
yeah.
the ability, the virtual classroom one. I don't know why that one didn't.
Strange. Okay. Okay, well, and sometimes Canvas does not like to follow directions when I'm doing a webinar. So you should have on your course, any module you can duplicate. So you click those 3 dots here and I can click duplicate and it will duplicate that whole module. So now I have 2 copies and it tells me it's a copy. What I would suggest to you is to set up the module as you want it, how you want to format your course during this time, create that as like a template, duplicate it, and then edit that one so that you have one as a template that you can always go back and modify. We want to save you time and steps. So being able to duplicate a whole model, or a whole module is super helpful. I'm going to delete that one so I don't confuse myself in this. A few other really cool resources of Canvas is that they have ways to copy content now that's really easy. So if I wanted to make a copy of my weekly overview and to-do list, I need to click on the title actually. So I'm going to click on it to preview it. I can click the 3 dots here and I can copy this template to another course. So I can either copy it to this current course to make a copy inside the course, or I can copy it to another one of my courses. So I click copy to, I can type in Canvas webinar. I can type in my course name and I can decide which module that's going to go into. So I can copy content to the same course I'm in, or I can copy it to my other courses. So if you make a page or an assignment that you really like and you want to share that with all of your other courses, you can copy it to that course. We also have the ability to send content to other teachers in our district. So if I really liked this overview, or if you see someone's Canvas course and you really like their homepage, you can ask them very kindly to send it to you. And so I can click send to, and I'm going to send this to Krista Polson. There she is. And I click send. This is a new feature of Canvas within the last like 6 months. So it's really helpful. When Krista sends me things or other teachers send me things, I can click on my picture right there on account and it shows up in shared content. So we have the option to see anything that teachers have shared with us is here. Okay, let's see, let me just double check. Let me go back to my course. Again, you can access your courses from Dashboard. Dashboard is an overview of your current 2nd semester courses. If you have previous courses that you want to look at, you can access those under courses. So you can see your current courses here. I can go to all courses and see all the courses I've ever enrolled in or been a teacher in. Another thing, is there any, actually, let me check in. Is there any questions that I have not answered yet? Krista, anything that I should talk about before I move into like just showing what a discussion is?
When Julie was asking, she kind of lost where the assignment went when you saved it.
Okay, perfect. That actually brings up a great point. So I am in a module. Here's the assignment that I created. I'm going to publish that assignment so that it's visible to my students. One thing about Canvas that took me a while to understand when I first started teaching with Canvas, I jumped in as a long-term sub, so I jumped into someone else's Canvas course. So I kind of learned as I went. One thing that took me a little bit to figure out is that I can add content to my module. We suggest to you to build your content through modules so it helps you stay organized. So if I wanted to add something to this module, I can click the plus button right here. And then these are my options of things I can add to a module. So I can add an assignment, a quiz, a file, which would be like a PDF, a page, so an information page, a discussion. A text header is just like a title to help organize my module if I had a really long module and I wanted kind of sections. An external URL, like a website, so like a YouTube video or a Wii video, and then external tools. We have a lot of external tools. So I would suggest to you to build content from your module by adding it to your module. However, because I added like this page to my module, it lives in my module, but it also lives under pages. So anything that you add to your module will also live under the tab that it corresponds to. So this communication and updates, I added it to my module, but if I go to pages and I click view all pages, that communication and updates lives here as well. So you can have resources in your module, but really the resource, the home of the resource is under the tab that it corresponds to. So if I wanted to delete this page, I have to delete it from pages. I can remove it from my module and not make it visible to students, but it will still live under pages. So when I first started teaching with Canvas, I had students going to pages for pages, assignments for assignments, quizzes for quizzes. So they were navigating all over this navigation bar. And then someone, probably Krista, told me it would be better if you build your course from modules so students have one place to go to find content. So they can go to my week, they can find all of the things that I want them to access through that module. If I create an assignment under assignments, I can still add it to this module by clicking the plus button. And if I have assignments here, I can see all of the assignments that I've ever created in this list. So I can add it and remove it from the module, but it will also always live under assignments. Any clarifying questions about that? Okay. Okay, I want to show you one other thing that I think will be helpful during this time, and that's discussions. So we are going to look at this one right here. So we have created a discussion for a welcome unit for your virtual classroom. And the discussion is called Staying Connected. So discussions is a place where you can have all students participate in one class discussion, and there's a lot of settings that you can set for that. So here's a discussion here. You can change what this discussion topic is about, and then Krista's included technical support here for students so that there's a student Canvas guide. We have a guide for students in case they're getting stuck anywhere along the way. So if I want to edit this discussion, again, any resource you create, a page, an assignment, a discussion, a quiz, you're going to have the same toolbar right here to edit the text. So I have this toolbar here. I'm going to add directions here. Tell me what you have been doing to stay positive during this time. So I might have directions here for my students, and then I'm going to scroll down, and these are our options for discussions. So I can allow threaded response, which means if all of you responded to my discussion and then I wanted to respond directly to Patricia's response, I can reply directly to her instead of just one long discussion. I like to check this one, that users must post before seeing replies. That means as a student, I have to post something before other students can see it. So it helps them not just copy each other's answers, but post their own answer first. Enable podcast feed. I haven't used that before as a teacher, but it's a pretty, it's not something I would try as a beginner Canvas user, maybe later down the road. What I've found using Canvas, I've used it for 4 years now, is that every year there's always like new cool things that I want to try out with my students. But at the most beginner level, I like to allow threaded response. They must post before seeing replies. I can allow liking. And then down here, I can decide when this is available from and when it is available to. So all assignments, quizzes, everything you create in Canvas, you can set it to show up on their course at a certain date and time, and then be removed from their course at a certain date of time. So I might make this available for tomorrow, or actually let's make it available today. And let's say it's available until next Thursday. Here you have the post to section. So again, it defaults to post it to all students in your class. What's cool about discussions is that if you have multiple periods of Spanish 2, all Spanish 2 students would participate in the same discussion. So if you want certain classes to participate, you would choose which section to post there. And then I'm going to go down and click save. So I think we should look at what this looks like from the student side so you can see what your students are looking at. So I'm going to show you what this discussion looks like from the student side and what an assignment looks like also. So here's a student that's enrolled in my course. Actually, let me double check that I published that module. I had many times as a teacher that students would say, it's not published. So I can just go into the course, click that green button, which makes it nice. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. Okay, so here's a student in my course, student 2. When they log on, they see their home page, and then they're going to click on modules. So here's their welcome to the virtual classroom. So if this student wanted to participate in the discussion, they just click the discussion. It has my directions, tell me what you've been doing to stay positive during this time. They just click reply. So when they click reply, they get the same text box that I have, and then they might post a response here. They would then click post reply, and they're done with that discussion post. So you can post a discussion that lasts the entire next 10 weeks. You can post a new discussion every week, however you would like to use that tool. If I go back to home, actually, I'm going to go back to modules. And I'm going to show you what that assignment looked like too. So here's their assignment. Oops, actually, I think it was this one. Okay, so here's an example of an assignment. I allowed them to submit, and they can see how they submit this assignment as a text entry box, a website URL, or a file upload. So when they're ready to submit, they click the blue submit button. And then here's all the options of ways they can submit the assignment. So if it's a file upload, they would click choose file and upload from their Google Drive, most likely. If it's a text entry, they get that same text box and can type their reply right there. If it's a website URL, they get this box to paste the URL in. They can also upload directly from Google Drives, or I'm sorry, from Google Docs or Google Drives. So they have lots of different ways to get those resources into Canvas. So let me show you, I'm gonna submit something here so you can see what this looks like also. So if this was the student's assignment, they uploaded from their drive, they click submit assignment. And then I'm gonna say okay. And then I'm gonna go back to the teacher view. So if I wanna see what my students, oh, this is a lot of Canvas information. I hope that you are all following along okay. I hope no one's super overwhelmed. Krista's monitoring chat for questions. It's a lot of information. Canvas can feel very overwhelming when you first start because there's just so much. I would say as a teacher who's new to Canvas, you're focusing on a home page, assignments, and modules. Those are your main things. Discussions also, if that's something that you want to start working on.
Hey, Mara,
Yeah.
can you show the discussion settings and how to remove a comment if they need to?
Yes. Okay.
And then the overall discussion settings where they can prevent students from, if you go into the discussion tab.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So let's do that first, and then I'll show you how to see what your students have submitted. So if we have this discussion that we posted, let's go into discussions. So I put that discussion in my module so students can access it. It's organized. But as the teacher, I can also go into discussions and I can see what discussions I have in this course. So I have all of these discussions. They were all put in using that template from the Commons. And I can set some different settings. So if I go up here to these three dots to, go to the gear. Here we go. I'm going to show you that again. So I'm in discussions. I clicked the gear in the upper right corner. And these are some overall discussion settings that we recommend that you set up for your course. So I do not want students to be able to create discussion topics because I don't want to have to monitor those. I also don't want students to be able to edit and delete their own posts. So if they post something, I want that to be posted and then I can delete it if I don't like it. That will prevent students from posting something and then removing it before you're able to catch it in case there's anything inappropriate. And not that they would ever do that, but just in case. And then if you want students to be able to attach files to discussions, that will really depend on your course. I never had them attach files just because I never had a need to do that, but that will also depend on your course. And then I'm going to save those settings. So if I create a new discussion, I can click that plus discussion button here too. And these are the settings that you have, the optional settings for every discussion. They'll be the same settings every time you create a discussion, and then you just decide which ones you want. And let me show you how to look at student submissions. So if I go to home again, I want to go to modules. I've been taught to live in home. Here we go. So we are in modules. If I have assignments or discussions that students have submitted and I want to see their work, I can click on the grades tab here. And this opens up your Canvas gradebook. So Canvas gradebook is really similar to any other gradebook. I can see all the students that are enrolled in my course. I can see all of the assignments that I have posted in this course. And then anything that has a dash is like an open assignment. So students have submitted or they will submit something there. So here's that assignment that I created here. And I can see that student 2 has submitted that assignment. Canvas is also really awesome because it will color code things based on if it's late or not. So right now, nothing is due. So there's no late assignments, but it will turn things red if it's late. I think it's blue if they turn it in, but it was late. So there's different color coding in the gradebook as well. So I'm going to look at this assignment here. So I'm going to click this little dot or this little arrow right here. And this gives me an overview of that student and their assignment. So right now I haven't graded anything that they've done there. I can mark things, the status of the assignment, but Canvas will automatically do this for me as well. And then I'm going to click the speed grader. So I can get to speed grader through my gradebook. I can also get to speed grader through the assignment. So there's a couple ways to get there, but you have the gradebook here, and then speed grader is how you actually grade their assignment and view what they've submitted on your course. So when I click speed grader, this shows me all of the submissions for that assignment. So student 2 submitted this Renaissance and Middle Ages art essay. And I see the Google Doc that they submitted right here, which is really cool because I also have all of these features here where I can highlight directly on this doc. I can leave some comments. So we have lots of speed grader features here that allow you to give feedback directly on the assignment. But I also have this comment box here. So I can leave comments directly for the student, especially during this time where we're encouraging you not to give a grade for assignments. I can still give written feedback. So I could say that this meets expectations. I could give more specific feedback. I can also give a video feedback if I want to record a video for the student, or if I want to record some audio feedback for the student, I can do that here too. So you have lots of different ways to give feedback to the student without actually assigning a grade for this assignment. So I can click submit, and then the student would see that on their assignment in Canvas. So that's a really cool feature. There's lots of, within SpeedGrader, there's lots of different options. We could do like a webinar on just SpeedGrader, which we are actually planning to do next week. So if you need some more Canvas follow-up, we'd be happy to do that for you. But I can click up here and see all the students. Only student 2 has submitted anything for this assignment. And so this is SpeedGrader. If I click over here, I go back to my gradebook. And this is how I see what students have submitted. So let's find that. Where's my discussion? I'm going to show you the other way to get to these things as well. So if I go back to modules and I click on my discussion. So here is the discussion we had. Student 2 submitted. Krista mentioned deleting comments on discussions too. I can click those 3 dots next to the student's name and I can delete comments as well. So if you want to monitor comments on your discussions, you can do that here through the discussion. So I can delete that student's comment. Okay, I feel like that is a lot of information about Canvas. Krista, is there any questions that I didn't answer that I should answer? Or does anyone have a question?
So the pencil tool to correct a math problem, in SpeedGrader you were showing,
yes.
Yeah, it just depends what type of file.
Okay. Let's see. So I can draw directly on this. So if you were using your stylus pen, you could do that if they're submitting this is a Google Doc submission. Krista, if they were submitting like a PDF or an image, are you looking into that?
If they did an image on, like if they inserted the image on their Google Doc and submitted it that way, you can. I don't believe this option comes up with a image.
Okay.
I would have to check. I'm not.
Yeah, we can check and circle back with you, Patricia, about that.
And then Julie asked, does it send them an email when you make a comment?
That depends on notifications. So it depends on what their notifications are set up as. So if I go to my account over here, I can click on my name or my picture over here, and I can click on notifications. And then Canvas gives you tons of notification options as a teacher and as a student. So I can set different notifications for course activity. So if there's a submission comment here, I can enable that. And you have different enabling. So I can have it notify me right away with a check mark. I can send a daily summary, send a weekly summary, or don't send me anything. So it just depends on the student's notifications that they have set up. And then you can set those up as well for different submissions or different alerts that you would like for Canvas. That's a good question. Is there any other questions that I can? Does anybody have a question that wasn't answered that they'd like to unmute themselves and ask?
I have some questions, but I don't know if it relates to the other participants, so that's why I'm holding off. I teach life skills, and the way things would be set up with Canvas would be, I think, very, very different from the other teachers. And one of the problems that I'm facing that I don't think they face is that I would like to be able to give assignments to I have the kids go to other the kids that I have. I teach reading and writing, and the kids that I have also go to another teacher for math. They go to a workshop area. So it's As far as like we have periods, that doesn't really
Mhm.
mean much the way it does with gen ed teachers.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that much with special ed. So I think that when I was trying to set things up, some of the kids could see it, but other kids that needed to see it couldn't because they were labeled in a different course and so forth. So those are problems I need to try to figure out.
Okay. John, I'd be happy to circle back with you about that too, and
Okay.
talk to you about how you could make that work. One thing that I didn't mention is that there are ways to set up other teachers as observers in your course too, so that they can see what you're doing. We can also create, as a teacher, you can create a sandbox course, like a course where you build content with other teachers and then push that out to your separate courses. So there is space for collaboration with learning support teachers. There are different things that we can do to make it so that you can see more courses or see things more as like an overall perspective if you have students in other teachers' courses that are like on your caseload or things like that. So yeah, I'd be happy to chat with you about that, John.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to, before we close, there's a lot of resources that we have. And I'm going to put this presentation in the chat. You can also send me an email if you would like to, if you'd like me to send this to you directly. But we have a Canvas page on our staff resource site. So we've spent a lot of time developing the staff resource site. And there's a page under secondary for Canvas specifically. This has an overview of Canvas. So a lot of what we talked about today, how to access it, and some basic tutorials. It also gives you directions for importing things to the Commons. So the things that we looked at today as well. And then Krista's developing this. I'm helping with some of the stuff. We also have a Canvas resource site. So we have an entire site dedicated to Canvas for Edmond School District staff. So that's a great resource if you need information about specific things such as grading or different feature options that we have. There's also a family resource site. So one of the things about Canvas that we really appreciate is you can add your students' families as observers so they can see what's happening in your Canvas course. They can't interact, but they can just see what content is there. So we have a resource site for families as well so that they can become an observer and then follow along with your course as you teach.
And on that family resource site and on the staff site, there is a link to some resources for students.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the bottom. Resources for students at the bottom of that page you're on right now.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
There we go. Okay, well, I hope that was helpful. Please reach out to me or to your instructional tech coach if you have Canvas follow-up. We'd be happy to sit with you on a Zoom call and give you walk you through some steps. I love doing that with teachers because I think Canvas can be really, it's such a useful tool. It definitely helped me as a teacher.